Well, there are genuine problems for the Liberal Party in New South Wales, which the Liberal Party seems unprepared to address. And they concern preselections for the upper house, which will take place tomorrow week, February 20. And speculation, yes, this fellow Alex Hawke, who must be one of the most egregious members of the Federal Liberal Party, a person who's meant to be the elected representative of the federal electorate of Mitchell, that seems to represent no one but himself and his own factions. I don't think he's made a mark of any kind in the federal parliament. He spent his life on the phones, organising against people. Apparently this very divisive figure has the support of the president of the Liberal Party, one Nick Campbell. Now, if the president is not supporting the campaign to unseat the existing MLC David Clarke, then he has a simple way to prove it. Make a statement in support of David Clarke. Make a statement that he's not supporting the divisive behaviour of Alex Hawke. Mr Campbell's silence betokens consent. And the level of anger about this in the branches is palpable. It's clear that the leader of the Federal Liberal Party, Tony Abbott, and the leader of the State Liberal Party, Barry O'Farrell, are supporting David Clarke. And indeed, in Tony Abbott's endorsement of David Clarke, he said, at times David's been demonised by people who don't know him, usually people who don't have our party's best interests at heart. He said one of the nastiest smears is that he embodies the religious right, as if going to church on Sundays and respecting traditional values should be thought odd. Tony Abbott described David Clarke as a force for much-needed tranquility inside the party. There's no way that can be said of this fellow Alex Hawke. And yet the president of the Liberal Party, Nick Campbell, seems to be opposing his federal leader and his state leader in joining this fellow Hawke in a campaign to unseat David Clarke. The same David Clarke who is supported by a cross-section of senior figures in the party. I've mentioned the federal leader of the opposition, the state leader, the Shadow Attorney General Greg Smith, the leader of the opposition, that is the Liberal Party leader in the upper house, Mike Gallagher, Deputy Leader of the upper house, Matthew Mason Cox, upper house MLCs Mari Fakara and Charlie Lynn, the party's state vice president and leader of the left within the party, Michael Fodgos, all supporting David Clarke. Apparently, Campbell and Hawke, according to one correspondent who's written to me, and the correspondence is mammoth, quote, continue with the campaign against good, experienced candidates who can win elections and want to install puppets. The same correspondent made reference to the seat of Des Moines, where apparently Hawke and Campbell and their cohorts are trying to parachute Scott Farlow into the seat. And the correspondent writes to me, renowned for his shocking bullying behaviour, threats to MPs and lack of professional achievement, Scott Farlow, with the support of Campbell and Hawke, made it through the nomination probity review process. This correspondent writes, Scott Farlow's wife is a staff member in the Liberal Party's head office. At no time has she declared a conflict of interest and excluded herself from dealing with matters in which her husband has a conflict of pecuniary interest. And the correspondence goes on, there's a stack of it. So how much longer can a Liberal Party seeking office in New South Wales endure both Campbell as president and Hawke as a federal member for the seat of Mitchell? For example, I'm told there's a highly respected candidate for the seat of Des Moines, one John Sidoti, the mayor of Burwood, who's dedicated his life and his family have dedicated their lives to the Italian and wider community in Des Moines. They own local businesses, including the local function centre. Apparently Sidoti's likeable, hard-working and highly successful, but Hawke and Campbell want to install this fellow Farlow, who's just moved into the area, doesn't have the local support like John Sidoti, or the experience, or the credibility, or the resources to run a successful campaign. And with pre-selection for the upper house next Saturday, tomorrow week, it appears that the President Campbell and Alex Hawke continue the campaign against the sitting member David Clarke. If the Liberal Party thinks they can persist like this, then the new Premier, Christina Keneally, by the day, will be looking to voters as an attractive proposition.